Hello, everyone, and welcome into an all-new edition of the Sports Stove Football Show presented by Righteous Felon Jerky. Join the flavor revolution at righteousfelon.com. The promo code STOVE15 will get you 15% off your purchase. And we are coming up on the College Football Championship. We have more NFL playoff games coming up this weekend, and we finally have a coach got hired with only about 22 jobs left to fill. So we got a lot to talk about today. I'm Vince Stover, joined as I am every week by my dad, Dale Stover. Dad, how you doing? Are you recovering from the big Packer loss last week?
Well, it'll take a while to recover fully from that. But anyhow, it made me excited for next year because the comments, well, I'm sure we'll talk about the Bears a lot in the offseason, so we will see. But it definitely will keep most Packer fans fired up for next year, so we will see.
We will see indeed. A sad weekend, last weekend for us, but we move on. Looking forward to baseball season now, and but still some football stuff to wrap up here today. So let's go ahead and knock out college football first. Miami and Indiana. We get into the week that they came out with the seeding and the rankings, and I argued Miami didn't deserve to be in the playoffs. I thought resume-wise, Vanderbilt deserved to be in over top of them. But nonetheless, they made it, and they've done the most with it, kind of like Ohio State did last year, just kind of marched right through everybody. And Indiana on the other side has looked far and above better than every team that they've played here in the playoffs so far. And now they will meet up in Miami for the championship game, playing in Dolphin Stadium or Hard Rock or whatever it's called now down there in Miami. And I have to admit, I'm intrigued that I think this could possibly be a good game to watch. But, Dad, give me your thoughts. Miami and Indiana making it all the way right here to the championship game.
Yeah, I think this shows a good idea of having a lot of teams in the playoffs. It gives everybody a chance. Miami, is not seated high and worked their way all the way through. Indiana, wasn't a matter of them just winning one more game. They showed they were dominant and they deserved to be the number one seed. So this will be interesting. The way Indiana's played, you don't know. Of course, it's at Miami. That won't hurt. And Miami has played really well. Yeah. They shouldn't surprise Indiana. I mean, you would think Indiana's all geared up here for the national championship, be the first national championship in football either they've ever won or won in a long time. And so, they seem very good. The quarterback's very impressive. And so I think it'll be hopefully it'll be a good football game to watch. But, Miami, they're fast. They play good defense, but they'll have to stay close so it doesn't get away from them for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Miami beat Ohio State in the first round, they beat Texas A&M by a touchdown, a game that was not entertaining, in my opinion, at all. Then they go and beat Ohio State by 10. Then they dominate, or not dominate, but they only won by 4, but they beat Ole Miss in an exciting game, and a game that they looked like they definitely belonged in. And now they'll face up against Indiana, who's coming off of a shellacking over Oregon, who dominated Texas Tech in the previous round, and Indiana dominated Alabama in their first game. So, like I said, Alabama just looks to be a tier above everyone right now, undefeated. They obviously won the Big Ten, and they've just walked right through so far. Couple extra days in between games can always throw a little bit of a wrench into things. You got your media stuff. You've got it's not necessarily your normal schedule, which could throw some people off. But It is in Miami. So, even though they're college kids, there's potential for getting in trouble before the game. And so there's all kinds of excitement that could happen here. But, I'm happy for Indiana. I don't really like Miami, but good for them. I think Indiana wins this game. They're 8.5-point favorites. I'd like to see it be a close game just for the entertainment value of it all. But it kind of feels like the way this has gone so far, Indiana's destined to win by, a couple scores in this game. I don't know. Do you think it could be close, or you lean more towards double digits and kind of another dominating game for Indiana?
I probably lean more toward Indiana being able to win by a couple scores, just by the way they've played. But again, it just depends. If Miami, can keep it close, play defense, it, like I said, for entertainment value, it'd be good if it's a close game. I'm sure Indiana's had some close games this year, maybe, but not a whole lot. So, if you stayed right in there with them, they might face some things they haven't faced before.
Yeah, it's a good point too. I like that for sure. All right, so college football will come to an end on Monday. Indiana, Miami, lots of fun. Dad, for the record, you have absolutely crushed your picks in college football this year. 50 correct picks, 36 incorrect picks. I'm sitting right at 500, 43 each. And so I'm interested to see how this one goes. Both of us pick Indiana in this one. So let's see how it shakes down this week for sure. All right, let's head over to the NFL. Well, real quick, before we get there, Dante Moore, Oregon quarterback, he announces he's coming back to school next year. They also signed Dylan Raiola there. He's going to be the backup, which is kind of crazy as well. But a smart move for Dante Moore in the sense he's going to develop. He's going to get more games. He's probably going to win a whole bunch of games next year. He was going to get drafted number 2 overall in the draft. And next year's draft is loaded, the way it looks right now, loaded at quarterback as well. But a big win for Oregon to get him back for next season as well. So congrats there to Dante Moore. And I think he probably made the right decision to go back to Oregon next season too. So we'll talk more about draft and stuff like that on other episodes, but I wanted to mention that as well. All right, Dad, NFL. Let's head over to the NFL now. We've got 4 games this weekend. Our NFL picks right now, both of us are over 500. Dad, you have 59 correct picks, 55 incorrect picks. I'm at 68 and 46. So both of us doing well in the NFL picks this year. Let's start with our picks, and then we'll talk coaches after that. So let's kick things off Saturday at 3:30 in the afternoon or 4:30 Eastern. Bills at Broncos. Broncos, the number 1 seed. Time off can be good, can be bad. There is potential for rust in Denver against Buffalo, who got a big win last week. First road playoff win for Josh Allen last week in Jacksonville, and it was a really, really close one. Dad, Denver is 1.5-point favorite. That has flipped. It opened up at Buffalo 1.5-point favorite. Now it's Denver 1.5-point favorite in the Mile High City. Bo Nix and the Broncos, Josh Allen and the Bills. Who you going with?
I'm going to go with the Bills. We talked last week. You said this is the year for them if they're going to. I think with Denver having the week off, I think there's a chance. Buffalo, again, Denver has just surprised all year and played good. But I don't know. I think I'm going to pick the Bills in this one.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bills too. Just because I haven't believed in Denver all year, and they've proven me wrong pretty much every week. That being said, I still don't really believe in Denver at this point. Bo Nix, he's been great, but I don't know. I don't believe it just yet. Dad, do you play any into the fact that they have had this bye week where that could be a negative thing for Denver, or do you think that doesn't really play into this?
I think it could be a negative thing a little bit. The Bills are coming off a big win there But it may not be. Sean Payton's got a lot of experience, so he should have everybody ready to play. And of course, it's in Denver, but I don't know. Just as I looked at it, I feel like maybe this will be Buffalo can break through and get to the AFC Championship.
Yeah, and Denver's defensive coordinator has been interviewing for a job all week long. Now, granted, it's all been video calls, but still splitting attention a little bit too in a pretty important game. I think it'll be a good one. I'm just going to go with Buffalo in this one. The other Saturday game is the 49ers at the Seahawks, another team that's had a week off in Seattle. And they've played twice against each other this season, San Francisco and Seattle have. So, Dad, an NFC West battle on Saturday night. These teams faced off 2 weeks ago, and the Seahawks beat the 49ers 13-3. And then at the very beginning of the season, they played as well, where the 49ers beat the Seahawks 17-13. Again, I think San Francisco is healthier than they've been pretty much all season long, and I'm intrigued by this game, Dad. Seattle, let me see where they're at now. Seattle was and still is the favorite by a touchdown right now going into this game, Dad. One of the things I mentioned coming into the playoffs was home Seattle is much different than road Seattle in the playoffs, but Sam Darnold's got an oblique injury. He's listed as questionable all of a sudden. I don't know how to feel about this. So, Dad, how do you feel about 49ers at Seahawks?
Well, again, based on the scores earlier this year, I guess we won't look for a lot of fireworks in this one. But I'll go with Seattle being at home. They are at home. It's tough with them in the playoffs. Their defense is very, very good. Of course, you got Christian McCaffrey to deal with, and Brock Purdy's been looking real good. But, again, we'll see with Sam Darnold. And, of course, they've got the really good wide receiver and there. So I'll go with Seattle to keep the run going at least right now and to get in the NFC Championship.
Yeah, just for the fact that I've been busting Minnesota fans all year long for letting go of Sam Darnold, I really need him to play well this week. So I'm going to go with Seattle also. Our friend Kevin Wilson posts that the Seahawks, the rest won't hurt them, and missing Kittles hurts the 49ers. I don't necessarily agree fully that missing Kittle hurts the Niners. It does to a degree, but Tongas has been really, really good when Kittle's has been injured this year. So I don't think it's a massive drop off. But again, I'm going to go Seattle in this one. The rest does scare me. The week off, I don't love it. And so that does worry me. But at home, the defense has been great. I like it. I like it enough to go Seattle this week as well. All right, Sunday, Texans at Patriots. Texans just dominated their defense again, phenomenal against Pittsburgh. They sent Mike Tomlin out of Pittsburgh. They may have sent Aaron Rodgers into retirement. Dad, CJ Stroud, the offense has looked fine. The defense has looked phenomenal. New England, on the other hand, coming in off a win. Also, they've had a great season, of course, all season long. Drake May, first time he's really going to be in this kind of situation in the NFL. He got a playoff game win over the Chargers last week, but this Texans team is not the Chargers. So, Dad, how do you feel about Texans at Patriots? Patriots, 3-point favorites at home.
Well, this one was a really hard one to pick, and I think this could be one of the best games. But I think New England has played well all year, so I'm going to go with New England. The issue is Drake May. He has played phenomenal. He's still a young quarterback, and he's playing by far the hottest defense right now.
Yeah.
Maybe not necessarily the best, but be pretty close. So, he will have to have poise. But again, I think, New England has played well. It's at New England. Now, again, Texas, Houston hasn't had any trouble playing on the road here lately. But It's a close one. I wouldn't mind either team winning from there, but I think I would have to pick New England.
All right, so finally we disagree. I'm going to go Houston in this game. Listen, I said Mike Vrabel was the best offseason hire. By the way, I said Ben Johnson was the second best offseason hire, and as much as I don't like him right now, I still stand by that. But Vrabel has been great. Drake May has been very good. The Patriots have been very good as well. I just think what Houston's defense is doing right now is so special, and I think that Drake May – it's kind of like the Bo Nix thing for me. I got to see it before I believe it with Drake May even in the playoffs. And I think he's going to have a long career and be very good. Can he get over the, tier 3, tier 2 kind of quarterback and become a tier 1 kind of quarterback? We will see. If he beats the Houston defense, that'll go a long way in getting him there. So I'm going to go Houston. I think what they've been doing offensively, that was where I was worried with them coming into the playoffs. And so, 30-6 last week against Pittsburgh. And I know Pittsburgh isn't the greatest defense in the world right now. Stroud did have an interception in that game, but you saw Woody Marks go off. You saw Christian Kirk go off, come out of nowhere and go off as well. I just really like the Texans right now. I think they're kind of the team I'm cheering for in the AFC, to be honest with you. I think the Josh Allen story and the Buffalo story would be good, but the Texans are kind of who I'm cheering for at this point in the AFC. All right, then the last game is the Rams at the Bears. Bears. And obviously, sickening that the Bears won last week. Hard for us to handle. The Rams are 3.5-point favorites on the road this week. Weather is, really the only thing that's making this one exciting. If the weather's nasty, then maybe the Bears can hang with the Rams a little bit. Dad, I'm curious your thoughts on Rams and Bears, and is there any way to be unbiased in picking this game?
Well, it would be hard to be unbiased, except I said the first of the year, I thought one of the scariest teams was the Rams, and they've stayed hot. You said the issue would be Stafford staying healthy, but he has stayed healthy. They have a lot of weapons. They have a lot of playoff experience. They have guys that know how to play. They have a coach that's very, very good and has experience in the playoffs, has won a Super Bowl. So I think the Rams, will know how to play with the Bears. The Bears have done great because they've won close games. They come back in the last 2 minutes and they're able to win. So you can't take that away from them. But I think when you look at the talent and look at everything down the line, I think the Rams have to be real happy with getting this pick, this draw in the tournament. It will be cold from what I understand. The weather could be a little bit of an issue. But again, these guys have played in that. I think Devontae Adams has played in cold weather before. And so I think they'll do okay. They could really run up the score here, but, it may be a battle. I don't know. The Bears have kept things close with people there. So, but I will definitely pick the Rams in this one.
Yeah, I'm picking the Rams also. I mean, if you go to last week, if you get behind the Rams like they got behind Green Bay, they're not going to catch up. Matt Stafford's played the Bears many times in Chicago. He knows the stadium. He knows the cold, and he hit his finger on a helmet last week. It's not going to feel good in the cold weather for sure. But you're right. Adams and Stafford, both with a ton of experience there. These guys have Super Bowl experience too. This is not too big for them. So I think the Rams, you look at that division, what they were able to accomplish in that division as well. The Bears won 11 games. They did it fair and square, and they accomplished that. But they did not play the same schedule that the Rams had to play. The division's not the same, all that kind of stuff. The Rams are the better team. And there was a point in this season where we said the Rams were the best team in the NFC. And Seattle ended up being that, but the Rams are right there. And when you look at the Rams, the 49ers, and the Seahawks, 3 NFC West teams, guaranteed that one of them will be in the NFC Championship game with potentially 2 of them, is pretty crazy when you understand just the gauntlet that they had to go through this year. So I'm going the Rams also. Again, the big thing will be Stafford, his finger. And, we saw the Bears, and Bears fans don't like this. We saw them go after a quarterback. So I think they're going to go after Stafford. If they can ding him up a little bit, that'll help them, of course, as well. But we'll see. We'll see. So we've both got Buffalo, Seattle, and the Rams advancing. Then we are split on Houston. I've got Houston. You have the Patriots in that game as well. So we will see where all that comes down to. The question got asked about to McVay this week about LaFleur helping him prep for the Bears. And he said that, well, they watched video and Matt LaFleur is his friend. And then he smiled. So there you go. LaFleur helping McVay get ready for the Bears this week with some video and preparation as well from there. Coaching decisions, Dad. We had 9 teams come open. 1 team is filled. John Harbaugh is signing with the New York Football Giants as to be their new football coach, with Jackson Dart, of course, the main piece there, and a very good defense as well. Did John Harbaugh make the right choice choosing the Giants over the other options that he had?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a good fit for him. They've got some young talent. Again, people have to get healthy, but if the quarterback, is going to be the starting quarterback, which it looks like he is, you got Malik Neighbors, very, very good. Scadaboo, who's having a great year. They played some good defense. The Giants, got a little bit of a historic franchise. The fans will be excited. New York fans are going to be a little bit fickle, but I think he'll definitely have a chance there. Be interesting to see what kind of staff he puts together. Is it the same one, from Baltimore, or is there some different people involved there? So, but yeah, I think, this is the first big piece to fall. LaFleur being official with the Packers will be the second one. Then you'll start seeing everybody sign.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Harbaugh is bringing in his offensive coordinator for sure, with him to the Giants. We'll see what other staff he puts together. It's interesting to watch these interviews go down. We'll talk about Mike Tomlin in a second, but we see in a lot of these young defensive minds, the Chris Shula, Jeff Hafley, Jesse Minter, Anthony Weaver, those kind of guys getting a lot of look right now, more so than the offensive guys, which is kind of surprising to me. But nonetheless, things are happening. A lot of interviews are being done. A lot of different names are being thrown out there. We're seeing guys start to interview for coordinator jobs that are also interviewing for head coaching jobs, like Brian Daboll, for instance, there, and Brian Flores and those kinds of guys. But Dad, I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, LaFleur's back with Green Bay. I would be shocked if that changes.
I agree.
That's going to happen. Now the question comes down to who's next, right? Kevin Stefanski. I think he's going to get a job here pretty quick. I think that Atlanta is probably the next one to move. They seem like they've been moving pretty steadily along there. Then the question comes down to these guys that are still in the playoffs, though, right? If you're hiring a guy that's still in, it's not going to be announced yet. So there could be guys that have already got everything figured out. If Chris Shula is getting hired, that could already be decided, but you can't say anything until he's done with the playoffs, something to that effect. So all those kinds of things are interesting. We'll see. I think Atlanta's the next to go. I think Miami's close as well. Now that Jesse Minter is eliminated, he could get hired. I see Pittsburgh or Baltimore being a landing spot for him. So there are definitely some options out there. talk to me about Mike Tomlin. He does not get fired. He does not retire, but he steps down as the head coach of the Steelers, meaning if he's going to be a head coach next season or anytime, the Steelers still have control of him. So it would be a trade to get Mike Tomlin. Common sense says he's going to go do TV next season, but I don't know, Dad. What do you think about Mike Tomlin stepping away from Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I think it was a good timing on his part, and I think it was a good thing. Like you said, he's not retired, so that will, hang around. I think they have his rights for at least a couple more years. He's under contract for 2 years, I believe. There, that means he's just getting older. I don't know that he will coach again. You never know from there. But, I think the timing was good for him. It didn't surprise me. They're not going to fire him, but I think him stepping away, where the Steelers are at right now makes sense for both sides.
Yeah, it didn't look fun. At times it did, but, you got an aging quarterback in Rodgers who's probably retiring. I think if Tomlin was coming back, Rodgers would have considered it for sure. But then you got just drama and just all the stuff going on there. It's just going to be easier to step away. I think Pittsburgh, when you look at their hiring process, they've hired a guy that was 37 or younger the last 3 times. They've hired defensive guys. So that's why I'm looking at the Chris Shula from the Rams, Jeff Hafley from Green Bay, Jesse Minter from Los Angeles, even Raheem Morris. I'm not sure that he got an interview in Pittsburgh or not. But he's young enough, defensive mind, Robert Saleh, Anthony Weaver. There's a lot of them out there right now, and it's intriguing. I think if Pittsburgh sticks with that mold, maybe they go offensive. Kevin Stefanski, I think, would be a great hire there as well. He's an offensive guy, but he's not old, so there are some options out there for sure. But very quickly, we're going to start seeing these pieces fall into place, I think, over this week and next week. Especially as things go. Dad, I didn't give you any heads up on this, but the Jets are drafting number 2 overall, and the quarterback that everyone assumed they were going to get is no longer in the draft. And that means the Jets are going to be stuck with a couple options. Number one, they cannot draft a quarterback at the 2nd pick overall in the draft. So they're probably going to have to look free agency or and the trade market, or they can draft a guy a little bit later on as well. But I'm curious if you have an opinion on a free agent quarterback I'll give you some options since I did not give you a heads up on this, and I got to go find my list now. I thought I had it there and it's somewhere else. Okay, so when we're looking at quarterback options right now, you're looking at guys like Malik Willis, who we are very familiar with. I think Malik Willis ends up in Miami for what it's worth, with the new GM down there being a Green Bay guy. That's where I think he ends up. Then you're looking at like Mac Jones could be traded for. Let's see here. Trey Lance is a free agent. Let's see here. Who else is around out there? All those other guys are older. Anthony Richardson could be available. Kyler Murray could be available. Tua Tagovailoa could be available. I mean, the Jets have to be thinking this is ridiculous. Like, what are we going to do? I'm curious. Any thoughts on what you think the Jets should do now that they're really not going to draft a guy at number 2?
Well, I think probably, going the route you said as far as someone that's been a backup this year like that, or a veteran that's available would be the way to go. You did say the draft will be heavy in quarterbacks next year. Yeah. So, there'll be a chance of young guys coming out. Now, again, teams, they work all these guys out, and every year, somebody, you have Bo Nix, you have somebody that you think, well, they shouldn't have been drafted that high, and yet, so the Jets may latch on to somebody, but it doesn't look like that would be be the best way to go.
Yeah, they won't take them at 2. They got to pick also at like 16, I think it is, the Colts pick. So I still think that's a reach for anybody there, but maybe they like a Ty Simpson. Maybe Carson Beck has an amazing championship game, and he jumps way up there too. There's plenty of time to talk somebody into a quarterback for sure. All right, Dad, that's all I got for today. You got anything else you want to discuss?
No, like I said, we got the playoffs coming down to the big conference championships next week. I think after this weekend and some of these teams that are out of it, I think you're right. The coaching thing will start to move. And depending on which ones are hired, it may move real quick. Depending on guys, teams are waiting for from there. So, and it is interesting that there's a lot of defensive guys that are interviewing for this. I heard today that Pittsburgh's going to interview a guy the Packers should have hired instead of Joe Barry. I don't know how to pronounce Evoli or whatever there, but he's going to interview with them, and he was a good defensive mind. So,
yeah, I don't know who you're talking about, but I'll look it up. But anyways, yeah, I think all that's going to fall into place here real quick for sure. All right, I've got draft content coming out starting, I think Monday is the plan. We'll be rolling out. We're going team by team through the draft. So Monday will be the Raiders. We'll be talking about their options in the first and second round, what they need, where they can maybe make some things up in free agency, different things like that as well. And then the plan is for the 5 days following. So Monday, Tuesday, all the way through Friday, we'll have a different team drop and the first 5 picks of the draft. And the following week, we'll go through the next 5 and so on and so forth. So in order to find that, you go to the Sports Stove YouTube channel and subscribe so you don't miss out on anything there. You can also find the audio on the Sports Stove Football Show and just follow wherever you're listening there. And make sure you follow us on social media at Sports Stove. That's Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And don't forget about our wonderful sponsors, Righteous Felon Jerky. Over at righteousfelon.com, find your new favorite flavor, enter the code STOVE15 at checkout, and you'll get 15% off your purchase. All right, that's it for today's episode of the Sports Stove Football Show. May the Rams win this week, and we can all be happy next week. Until then, we'll see you around the Sports Stove.